Danger is not always loud. It does not always arrive with noise, chaos, or visible destruction. Sometimes danger arrives quietly, almost respectfully, as a moment that feels ordinary on the surface, but heavy underneath. When God says today is dangerous, it does not mean something bad must happen. It means a threshold has been reached, and thresholds are never comfortable. A threshold is the space between what you know and what you must become. It is the narrow bridge between an old identity and a new one. Most people avoid this place their entire lives. You have been brought here. Understand this clearly. Nothing becomes dangerous unless it matters. A meaningless day does not require warning. A wasted life does not require intervention. Danger appears only when growth is unavoidable. Like fire that hardens steel or shatters glass, the same moment will either shape you or break you, depending on what you are made of. God does not place fragile souls in the path of real transformation. The warning itself is a sign of trust. Congratulations are given not because you have arrived, but because you are strong enough to cross. You may feel tension today, an uneasiness you cannot fully explain, a pressure in the chest, a restlessness in the mind. This is not random. This is the feeling of standing at a border. Behind you is familiarity, habits you know, patterns you have repeated, excuses that once protected you. Ahead of you is uncertainty, responsibility, discipline, and the demand to act differently. The ego experiences this moment as danger because it senses its authority is about to end. The ego survives on repetition. Growth threatens its existence. Most people misinterpret danger as something external. They look for enemies outside, events outside, people outside. But the most dangerous battlefield is internal. Today becomes dangerous when the truth becomes unavoidable, when you can no longer pretend you do not know, when you can no longer say, one day has arrived, and it is uncomfortable because it asks something of you, not tomorrow, not next year, now. In the Shaolin way, a student is not pushed until they are ready. Pressure is increased only when the foundation is strong. If the foundation is weak, pressure destroys. If the foundation is solid, pressure reveals strength. God operates the same way. If you were not prepared, this message would not reach you. You would scroll past. You would ignore it. The fact that it stopped you means the foundation exists. Maybe you do not see it yet, but it is there. A dangerous day is a day when old rules stop working. The strategies that once helped you survive no longer help you grow. Avoidance, delay, blaming others, waiting for motivation. These tools expire at the threshold. And when tools expire, panic follows. The mind searches for familiar solutions, but none apply. This is why people feel lost at moments of growth. They are not lost, they are early. They are standing in a space where new rules must be learned. Look carefully at your life. Patterns repeat not because fate is cruel, but because lessons are ignored. God is patient, but patience does not mean permission to remain asleep forever. Eventually, repetition becomes confrontation. Eventually, the lesson stands directly in front of you and says, enough. Today is dangerous because avoidance is no longer an option. You either step forward consciously, or life will push you unconsciously. One path builds strength, the other builds regret. Danger also means opportunity, but opportunity that demands sacrifice. Not every door opens gently. Some doors require you to leave parts of yourself behind. Comfort cannot follow you through every gate. Old identities cannot survive new levels. This is why the threshold feels heavy. You are not just moving forward, you are shedding weight. And shedding weight feels like loss before it feels like freedom. Many people pray for change, but fear the day change actually arrives. They ask for strength, but resist the moment strength is required. God answers prayers honestly, not politely. When you ask for growth, you are given situations that demand it. When you ask for clarity, you are given moments where illusions collapse. When you ask for discipline, you are placed in situations where discipline is the only way through. Today is dangerous because prayers are being answered. A threshold day exposes self-deception. Stories you told yourself to survive will no longer hold. I have time. I will do it later. This is just how I am. These sentences crumble when the moment arrives that asks, then why are you still unhappy? Truth is dangerous because it removes excuses, and excuses are emotional shelter. Without them, you stand exposed. But exposure is not punishment. Exposure is preparation. Shi Heng Yi often speaks about alignment. When the body, mind, and intention are aligned, power flows effortlessly. A dangerous day is often the moment alignment is demanded. You can no longer move in 3 different directions internally. Conflict inside creates weakness outside. Today asks you to choose one direction, one standard, one commitment. Indecision feels safer, but it slowly erodes the soul. Decisiveness feels dangerous, but it builds structure. Do not confuse danger with doom. Doom ends things. Danger transforms them. The caterpillar experiences the cocoon as danger. Everything familiar dissolves. There is no certainty that wings will form. But remaining a caterpillar forever is the greater death. Growth always requires a phase where the old form cannot survive. You are in that phase. If you resist, pain increases. If you cooperate, clarity increases. This is a law, not a suggestion. Resistance prolongs suffering. Acceptance shortens it. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means conscious participation. It means saying, I see what is being asked of me, and I will not run. A dangerous day also tests integrity. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when it costs you something to do the right thing? Thresholds are quiet judges. They do not announce themselves. They simply observe your choices. The future you is built from these moments, not from big promises made during emotional highs. Congratulations are given today because you are capable of awareness. Many live their entire lives reacting, never recognizing the threshold when it appears. They call it bad luck, a hard phase, a strange time. They miss the invitation. You did not miss it. Awareness itself is strength. Awareness is the first victory. You may feel fear today. That is natural. Fear appears whenever the known ends. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement despite fear. God does not remove fear because fear sharpens presence. Fear forces you into the now. It strips away distraction. In that sense, fear is a tool, not an enemy. A dangerous day simplifies life. It reduces choices. It clarifies priorities. It asks one question again and again: will you remain who you were, or will you become who you know you must be? There is no neutral ground at a threshold. Standing still is also a decision, and it carries consequences. Remember, this pressure reveals, it does not invent. If anger appears, it was already there. If weakness appears, it existed quietly. If strength appears, it was always within you, waiting for a reason to surface. Today is dangerous because masks fall. Reality steps forward, and reality does not negotiate. Do not seek safety today. Seek truth. Safety delays growth. Truth accelerates it. The warrior path is not about comfort. It is about clarity. When clarity arrives, life becomes simpler, even if it becomes harder. Simplicity builds peace. Confusion builds suffering. You are not being threatened. You are being invited to step into responsibility for your own life. Responsibility feels heavy because it removes the illusion that someone else will save you. But with responsibility comes power. Power over choices. Power over direction. Power over discipline. A threshold day is rare. Do not waste it by treating it like any other. Move slower. Speak less. Observe more. Act with intention. Let every choice today be made as if it matters, because it does. God said congratulations, because not everyone is trusted with dangerous days. Some are kept asleep for their own protection. You are being awakened because you are capable of staying conscious. That is not a burden, it is an honor. Stand upright. Do not collapse inward. This is not the day to retreat into distraction. This is the day to meet yourself honestly. What you face today determines the weight you carry tomorrow. Face it fully, and the danger becomes a doorway. You have reached the threshold. Step through. Stillness is not weakness. It is not passivity, silence born from fear, or withdrawal from life. Stillness is control. It is the highest form of readiness. When God marks a day as dangerous, the instinct of the untrained mind is to rush, to react, to speak too much, to do something, anything, to escape the discomfort. But danger does not require noise. It requires precision, and precision is born only from stillness. On dangerous days, life accelerates. Situations arise quickly. Words are said impulsively. Emotions surge without warning. The world seems to demand immediate response. But the disciplined understand a deeper law. Speed without control leads to destruction. The one who survives danger is not the fastest or the loudest, but the most centered. Stillness is your weapon today because it creates space between stimulus and response. In that space lies wisdom. Without that space, you are not choosing, you are reacting. Reaction belongs to the past. Choice belongs to the present. And only the present has power. Shi Heng Yi teaches that the body follows the mind, and the mind follows breath. When breath is shallow, the mind becomes chaotic. When the mind is chaotic, decisions become dangerous. Stillness begins with breath. Not dramatic breathing, not forced calm, just awareness. When you slow the breath, you slow time. When you slow time, you see clearly. And clarity turns danger into strategy. A dangerous day tests emotional mastery. Someone may provoke you. Circumstances may challenge your patience. Old wounds may surface. The ego will beg you to defend itself, to explain, to justify, to attack. But every unnecessary reaction costs energy. And energy is currency on days like this. Waste it, and you will feel exhausted without knowing why. Preserve it, and you will feel grounded while others spiral. Stillness is not doing nothing. It is doing only what is necessary. It is the ability to sit in discomfort without trying to escape it. Most mistakes are made not because people lack intelligence, but because they cannot tolerate internal pressure. They act to release tension, not to create outcomes. Stillness allows tension to pass without controlling you. On dangerous days, silence becomes protection. Words spoken emotionally cannot be taken back. Decisions made impulsively cannot be undone easily. Stillness teaches restraint. Restraint is not suppression. It is awareness paired with discipline. You feel everything, but you are ruled by nothing. Observe how nature behaves under threat. A predator does not panic. It becomes still before it moves. Muscles relax. Breathing slows. Focus sharpens. Movement, when it happens, is exact. Humans lose this instinct when ruled by emotion. Stillness restores it. You may feel an urge today to explain yourself, to prove something, to rush ahead, to fix everything at once. Pause. Not everything needs a response. Not every thought deserves action. Not every emotion deserves expression. Stillness allows you to separate signal from noise. A calm mind intimidates chaos. When others see you unmoved, unreactive, they lose leverage over you. When circumstances do not control your internal state, they lose power. This is why stillness is a weapon. It disarms the external world. God congratulates those who can remain centered, because centering is rare. Most people are pulled in every direction by the opinions of others, by fear of loss, by hunger for validation. Stillness cuts these strings. It returns authority to where it belongs, inside. Dangerous days amplify consequences. Small mistakes echo loudly. Small victories compound quickly. Stillness increases accuracy. Accuracy reduces regret. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens a human can carry. Today, stillness protects you from future regret. Do not confuse stillness with hesitation. Hesitation is fear disguised as caution. Stillness is clarity waiting for the right moment. The difference is intention. Hesitation avoids responsibility. Stillness prepares for it. You may notice that when you stop reacting, situations resolve themselves more easily. People reveal their true intentions. Problems lose intensity. This is not coincidence. Chaos feeds on engagement. Remove engagement and chaos collapses. Stillness also sharpens intuition. When the mind is loud, intuition cannot be heard. On dangerous days, intuition becomes essential. Logic works with known variables. Danger introduces unknowns. Intuition navigates uncertainty, but intuition whispers, it never shouts. Stillness is required to hear it. The disciplined warrior does not fear dangerous days because they trust their training. Your training is awareness. Your training is breath. Your training is self-restraint. You may not have trained in a monastery, but every hardship you survived has refined you. Today asks you to use what you have learned. Stillness creates internal order. Internal order creates external effectiveness. Without order inside, effort outside is wasted. This is why people feel busy but unfulfilled. They move constantly but go nowhere. Stillness realigns direction. God does not expect perfection today. God expects presence. Presence means you are here, not lost in yesterday or anxious about tomorrow. Danger exists only in the now. So does power. Stillness anchors you in the only place where action matters. If fear arises, do not fight it. Observe it. Fear loses strength when watched. It grows when resisted. Stillness turns fear into information instead of paralysis. Ask what the fear is protecting. Often, it guards an old identity that is no longer needed. Stillness also teaches humility. You realize you do not need to control everything. You learn to act when it is your role and step back when it is not. This saves energy and preserves dignity. On dangerous days, ego wants recognition. Stillness wants results. Ego wants to be seen. Stillness wants to be effective. Choose effectiveness. Every breath you take consciously today is an act of resistance against chaos. Every moment you pause before reacting is a victory. These victories are invisible, but they are decisive. Life is not changed by dramatic gestures alone, but by quiet mastery repeated consistently. You are not meant to hide today. You are meant to stand calmly in the center of uncertainty, like the eye of the storm, motionless while everything else moves. Stillness does not mean you will not act. It means when you act, your action will be clean, intentional, and aligned. One aligned action outweighs 10 emotional ones. God congratulates those who master stillness because they can be trusted with responsibility. A reactive mind cannot lead. A centered mind can. Today is dangerous because reactions are costly. Stillness is priceless. Remain calm, remain aware, remain in control. In stillness, you are untouchable. A dangerous day is never dangerous because of how long it lasts, but because of what it decides. Some days pass like water through your hands, leaving nothing behind. Other days carve lines into your life that never fade. Today belongs to the second kind. It is not loud enough to announce itself as historic, but it is sharp enough to shape your future. This is why what you choose today matters more than what you plan tomorrow. Most people believe destiny is built through grand events. They wait for dramatic turning points, major opportunities, perfect timing. In reality, destiny is shaped quietly, through ordinary decisions made under internal pressure. On dangerous days, pressure reveals priorities. You discover what truly matters not by what you say, but by what you choose when comfort is removed. Choice is power, but power frightens the unprepared because it removes excuses. When you cannot blame circumstances, timing, or other people, you are left alone with your responsibility. This is why many people avoid conscious choice. They let life decide for them. They drift, then complain about where they end up. A dangerous day interrupts drifting. It forces you to take the steering wheel. Today is dangerous because the cost of unconscious choice is higher. Small decisions carry long shadows. A word spoken carelessly may close a door permanently. A moment of courage may open one that remains open for years. Discipline applied once today can break a habit that has controlled you for a decade. Or a single lapse can restart a cycle you thought you had escaped. You are not being tested on perfection. You are being tested on awareness. Do you notice the moment before the decision? Do you recognize the familiar pull of old patterns? Do you see the fork in the road when it appears? Or do you only realize it after you have already chosen? Awareness gives you the chance to choose differently. Without awareness, you repeat history. Most people's lives look the way they do because of default choices. Default is what happens when you do not consciously decide. Default is comfort. Default is avoidance. Default is delay. Default feels safe, but it quietly builds dissatisfaction. Dangerous days exist to break default. They shake you awake and ask, is this truly how you want to continue? Shi Heng Yi often emphasizes discipline not as restriction, but as freedom. Discipline reduces the number of choices so that the important ones become clear. On a day like today, discipline acts like a compass. When emotions pull you in multiple directions, discipline points north. It asks simple questions. Does this move me forward or backward? Does this strengthen or weaken me? Does this align with who I am becoming? What you choose today does not need to impress anyone. It needs to be honest. The ego seeks approval, growth seeks alignment. Many people sabotage themselves by making choices that look good rather than choices that are right. Dangerous days do not care how things look. They care how things are. You may feel tempted today to compromise, to take the easier path just this once, to say yes when your inner voice says no, to delay action because action feels heavy. These moments seem small, but they are not. Repeated compromise teaches the mind that standards are negotiable. Once standards are negotiable, discipline collapses. Once discipline collapses, direction is lost. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. Today, the votes count double. Not because God is watching more closely, but because you are. Something inside you knows this moment matters. Ignoring that knowing creates internal conflict. Honoring it creates peace, even if the decision is difficult. Dangerous days often present disguised choices. The choice may not look heroic. It may look boring. It may look like resting instead of forcing. Like staying silent instead of arguing. Like saying no instead of pleasing. Like starting something small instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Do not underestimate small aligned actions. They accumulate faster than dramatic gestures fueled by emotion. Time has a strange quality on days like this. The future feels closer. Consequences feel heavier. This is not imagination. It is intuition sensing momentum. Momentum can carry you forward or pull you backward. Once momentum builds, changing direction becomes harder. Today is a chance to redirect before the speed increases. You may think one day cannot change much, but look honestly at your life. Many of your current struggles trace back to a handful of moments where you chose unconsciously. One conversation avoided, one boundary not set, one commitment broken, one truth ignored. Dangerous days offer the opposite possibility: one boundary set, one truth honored, one commitment kept. God congratulates you today because choice means trust. You are not being controlled. You are being empowered. Power is given to those who can handle it. Handling power means accepting responsibility for outcomes, not just intentions. It means understanding that good intentions without action produce nothing. There is a temptation to wait for certainty before choosing. Certainty rarely comes first. It follows commitment. Action clarifies what thinking cannot. On dangerous days, waiting for perfect clarity often leads to missed opportunity. Choose based on values, not fear. Fear asks, what if I lose? Values ask, who do I become? The choice today may involve ending something. Endings feel dangerous because they create emptiness. But emptiness is not failure. It is space. Space is necessary for anything new to enter. Holding on to what no longer fits blocks growth. Letting go feels like loss until you realize you were carrying dead weight. You may also be asked to begin something. Beginnings feel dangerous because they expose you to uncertainty. You cannot control outcomes at the start. You can only control effort and integrity. Trust that effort aligned with integrity always produces growth, even if results arrive later. Do not confuse comfort with correctness. Comfort soothes the nervous system temporarily. Correctness strengthens the soul long term. dangerous days favor the soul. They ask you to endure short-term discomfort for long-term alignment. Remember this: you are always choosing, even when you think you are not. Inaction is a choice. Silence is a choice. Delay is a choice. The question is not whether you will choose, but whether you will choose consciously. Today shapes the next chapter, not because it is special on the calendar, but because you are special within it. Your awareness makes it significant. Your discipline gives it weight. Your courage gives it direction. Do not try to control the entire future today. Control this moment. Make one clear choice you can stand behind tomorrow, then another, then another. The path reveals itself step by step. God said, congratulations, because you are not being carried. You are being invited to walk. Walking requires effort. Effort builds strength. Strength builds confidence. Confidence builds peace. When you look back on this day, let it be with respect. Not because everything went perfectly, but because you chose consciously when it mattered. This is how lives change, not in noise, not in fantasy, but in one dangerous, honest day. If you are still here, reading this, listening to this, absorbing this moment, understand something clearly: nothing about this is accidental. People talk about luck because it is easier than responsibility. Luck removes accountability. Preparation demands it. What you are experiencing right now is not a random intersection of time and content. It is the quiet confirmation of a long process that began long before you noticed it. When it is said that you were chosen, it does not mean you were favored without reason. It means you were shaped until you could carry what is coming without breaking under its weight. Most people want the result, but very few want the process. They admire strength but avoid discipline. They desire clarity but resist silence. You were placed in situations that forced you to slow down, to observe, to endure. There were moments when you felt invisible, moments when your effort went unrecognized, moments when you questioned whether anything you were doing mattered at all. That questioning was not weakness, it was refinement. Every doubt you faced was an invitation to either collapse inward or stand firmer in who you were becoming. Preparation rarely looks impressive from the outside. It often looks like delay. It looks like repetition. It looks like doing the same small, boring, uncomfortable things when no one is watching. While others measured progress by applause, you were taught to measure it by internal stability. While others chased excitement, you were confronted with consistency. This is why your path felt heavy at times. Weight is added gradually so that strength can be built without injury. If everything had come quickly, you would not have had the structure to sustain it. Think about how many times you were tempted to quit quietly. Not in dramatic moments, but in subtle ones. The kind of quitting where you still show up physically, but withdraw internally. The kind where you lower your standards just enough to feel comfortable. The kind where you convince yourself that this is good enough. Each time, something inside you resisted. That resistance was not ego. It was alignment trying to form. You could not betray the version of yourself that was slowly taking shape. People misunderstand what it means to be chosen. They imagine a moment where doors suddenly open and everything becomes easy. In reality, being chosen often means being isolated. It means being misunderstood. It means walking a path that others cannot validate because they have never walked it themselves. You were separated not to be punished, but to be trained. Distance creates perspective. Silence builds discernment. Pressure reveals weak structures so they can be rebuilt properly. Preparation is not about knowing more. It is about becoming steadier. When life applied pressure, you learned where you were reactive. When expectations were placed on you, you learned where you were attached. When plans failed, you learned where your identity was too dependent on outcomes. These lessons are invisible to those who only look at results, but they are everything to those who understand mastery. A person who cannot regulate themselves cannot be trusted with influence, opportunity, or responsibility. You may not realize how much has already changed within you. The way you respond is different now. The way you tolerate chaos is different. The way you value your time is different. You no longer seek validation from noise. You are less impressed by shortcuts. You are more aware of cause and effect. This did not happen overnight. It happened through countless small decisions where you chose discipline over comfort, honesty over avoidance, growth over familiarity. When it is said that God said congratulations, it is not a reward for perfection. It is recognition of readiness. Readiness is not about having all the answers. It is about having the stability to face unanswered questions without panic. It is about being able to move forward without needing constant reassurance. It is about standing firm even when outcomes are uncertain. You were trained in uncertainty so that clarity would not intoxicate you when it arrives. Look back honestly. How many times did life test your patience? How many times were you asked to wait longer than felt fair? Each delay carved depth into you. Each obstacle forced you to refine your approach. Each setback stripped away illusions. What remains now is something solid. Not loud, not flashy, but dependable. This is the kind of foundation that can support growth without collapse. Others may not see it yet. They may only notice when the results become visible. But what they will never understand is that the real work was done long before the recognition. You learned how to show up when motivation disappeared. You learned how to continue without praise. You learned how to trust process over emotion. These are not common skills. They cannot be taught quickly. They must be lived. Preparation also taught you restraint. You learned that not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every reaction needs to be expressed. Not every battle needs to be fought. This restraint is power. It allows you to conserve energy for what actually matters. It allows you to move deliberately rather than impulsively. Many people sabotage themselves not because they lack talent, but because they lack control. You were trained in control through necessity. Being chosen does not place you above others. It places you deeper within responsibility. The more prepared you are, the more is expected of you. This is why the path ahead will not be careless or chaotic. It will require precision. It will require integrity. It will require consistency. Preparation does not end, it evolves. Each level demands a more refined version of discipline. Understand this clearly. If you were not capable, you would not be here. If you were not ready, this message would not resonate. The fact that it does means something inside you recognizes the truth of it. Recognition always precedes realization. You feel it before you see it. You sense alignment before results confirm it. Do not rush forward recklessly now. Preparation teaches patience even in moments of momentum. Stay grounded. Stay attentive. Continue doing the small things correctly. Success does not remove the need for discipline. It amplifies the consequences of neglecting it. The higher you go, the more stability matters. Congratulations is not an ending. It is acknowledgement of a threshold crossed internally. You are no longer who you were when the journey began. You carry yourself differently. You think differently. You respond differently. This difference is the real achievement. External changes will follow, but they are secondary. Honor the process that shaped you by continuing to walk with awareness. Do not become careless simply because progress is visible. Do not abandon structure simply because things feel lighter. The habits that prepared you are the habits that will sustain you. You were not chosen randomly. You were chosen gradually, through endurance, through restraint, through silent persistence, through preparation that no one applauded, but everything depended on. And that is why, today, the message is simple and precise. Congratulations. You are ready to carry what is coming. You were not ignored. You were instructed. What felt like silence was not emptiness. It was refinement in its purest form. People fear silence because it removes distraction, and without distraction, there is nowhere to hide. When the noise fades, you are left alone with yourself, your patterns, your habits, your weaknesses, your excuses. That is why silence is avoided. Yet that is why it is the greatest teacher. Difficulty entered your life not as punishment, but as examination. Every challenge arrived with a question, and the question was never spoken aloud. It was asked through pressure. How do you respond when things do not go your way? How do you behave when effort is not rewarded immediately? How stable are you when certainty disappears? These questions cannot be answered with words. They can only be answered through behavior over time. You were placed in situations where nothing made sense on the surface. You did everything right, yet progress was slow. You stayed disciplined, yet results were delayed. You remained patient, yet clarity did not arrive when expected. This confusion was intentional. When understanding is removed, character is revealed. When control is taken away, inner structure is exposed. Difficulty strips life down to its essentials. In the beginning, the difficulty felt personal. You wondered why it kept happening to you. You questioned what you were doing wrong. This is natural. The mind always seeks cause and blame. But slowly something shifted. You began to observe instead of react. You began to endure instead of complain. You began to listen instead of demand answers. This shift is subtle, but it is everything. Silence teaches without explanation. It does not comfort. It does not reassure. It simply remains. In that stillness, you learned how loud your thoughts were. You noticed how quickly impatience arose. You saw how often you wanted external confirmation to feel secure. These realizations were uncomfortable, but they were necessary. You cannot master what you refuse to see. Difficulty exposed your attachments. You discovered where you were too dependent on outcomes, too attached to timelines, too invested in how things should look. Each setback loosened these attachments. Each delay forced you to ask a deeper question. Who am I when things do not go as planned? Am I still steady? Am I still disciplined? Am I still committed? Most people break at this stage, not loudly, but quietly. They slowly lower their standards. They begin to justify inconsistency. They call it realism. In truth, it is retreat. You felt that temptation too. There were moments when it would have been easy to stop caring as deeply, to reduce effort, to blend back into comfort. But something inside you refused. Not because you were fearless, but because you had begun to understand that the discomfort itself was shaping you. Silence removed external validation. No applause. No reassurance. No clear signs. This forced you to build internal validation. You had to learn how to trust your process without proof. You had to continue without encouragement. You had to generate discipline from within. This is rare. This is why silence is such a powerful teacher. It forces self-reliance at the deepest level. Difficulty also revealed your emotional habits. Under pressure, emotions rise quickly. Frustration, doubt, impatience, fear. At first, these emotions controlled you. They dictated your energy. But over time, you learned to watch them instead of obey them. You realized emotions are information, not commands. This realization marks a turning point. When emotions no longer control action, mastery begins. The lessons were not dramatic. There was no single moment of revelation. Instead, there were countless small moments where you chose restraint, where you paused instead of reacted, where you continued instead of quitting, where you stayed present instead of escaping. These moments accumulated quietly. This is how real strength is built without witnesses. Difficulty also taught humility. It showed you that effort does not guarantee outcome, and that control is always limited. This humility did not weaken you, it grounded you. It removed arrogance. It replaced entitlement with gratitude. You learned to respect timing rather than fight it. You learned that forcing progress often creates resistance, while patience allows alignment. Silence trained your perception. When noise is removed, awareness sharpens. You began to notice details you once ignored. Your own patterns, other people's behaviors, the flow of situations. You became less reactive because you became more observant. Observation creates distance, and distance creates choice. This is freedom. There were days when the silence felt heavy, when you wanted direction, confirmation, reassurance, when you asked for a sign and received none. Those were the most important days, because on those days, you had to decide whether you would keep going without certainty. And you did. That decision repeated itself until it became part of who you are. Difficulty refined your priorities. When life becomes challenging, unnecessary things fall away. Distractions lose their appeal. Superficial goals lose their importance. You began to value depth over speed, stability over excitement, consistency over intensity. This shift prepared you for responsibility. Without it, success would have destabilized you. You also learned endurance, not the dramatic kind, but the quiet kind. The endurance of routine, the endurance of repetition, the endurance of continuing when progress feels invisible. This endurance is far more powerful than bursts of motivation. Motivation fades, endurance remains. Silence taught you how to sit with discomfort without trying to escape it. This skill changes everything. When discomfort no longer scares you, fear loses its grip. When fear loses its grip, decisions become clearer. You stop rushing, you stop forcing. You begin to move with intention rather than urgency. Difficulty was the test because tests reveal capacity. Silence was the teacher because teachers do not always speak. You were taught how to regulate yourself, how to remain composed under pressure, how to trust process over emotion. These lessons cannot be learned through ease. They require friction. Now, when challenges appear, you respond differently. There is more space between stimulus and reaction, more patience in uncertainty, more trust in your ability to adapt. This is evidence of learning. This is proof that the silence did its work. Understand this: you were not delayed because you were failing. You were delayed because you were being prepared to carry something that requires stability. A person who has not faced silence will panic when attention fades. A person who has not faced difficulty will collapse when pressure rises. You have faced both. That is why this phase is ending. Not because life will suddenly become easy, but because you are no longer the same person who needed those lessons. You have integrated them. They are now part of you. Remember the silence with respect. Remember the difficulty with gratitude. They did not come to harm you. They came to teach you what comfort never could. And because you learned, because you endured, because you stayed present when it was uncomfortable, the message now makes sense. Congratulations. You listened when there were no words. There comes a moment when effort stops feeling like resistance and starts feeling like flow. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because the inner struggle has settled. Before alignment, every step feels heavy. You push, you force, you negotiate with yourself just to continue. After alignment, movement becomes quieter. There is less internal debate, less chaos, less need to prove anything. This shift is subtle, but once it happens, everything changes. For a long time, you were working against yourself without realizing it. Your goals were sincere, but your inner state was fragmented. Part of you wanted growth, another part wanted comfort. Part of you wanted discipline, another part wanted escape. This inner conflict drained energy. It made progress slow and exhausting. Alignment began when you stopped lying to yourself about what you truly wanted and what it would actually require. Alignment is honesty in action. It is when your values and your behavior stop contradicting each other. When what you say you want is supported by what you do daily. This does not happen through motivation. It happens through repeated choice. You chose structure over chaos. You chose clarity over distraction. You chose long-term direction over short-term relief. Each choice reduced internal friction. Before alignment, you chased outcomes. You measured yourself by visible results. When results were delayed, frustration grew. When others progressed faster, comparison poisoned your focus. Alignment shifted this perspective. You began to value process over outcome. You understood that outcomes are effects, not causes. The cause is consistency. When consistency is present, outcomes follow naturally, without force. Acceleration does not come from moving faster. It comes from moving correctly. Many people move quickly in the wrong direction and mistake speed for progress. Alignment slows you down at first because it demands correction. It forces you to adjust posture, habits, priorities. This correction phase can feel like stagnation, but it is essential. Once direction is correct, even small steps cover great distance. You may have noticed that your decisions feel clearer now. Not because options disappeared, but because your tolerance for misalignment has decreased. Things that once distracted you no longer hold the same appeal. Conversations that drain you feel heavier. Environments that lack integrity feel uncomfortable. This is not judgment, it is sensitivity. Alignment sharpens awareness. When inner resistance fades, energy becomes available. This energy expresses itself as focus. Focus allows depth. Depth creates impact. You are no longer scattered across too many directions. You are more selective, more deliberate. This selectiveness is not limitation, it is power. It prevents leakage of attention and effort. Acceleration begins quietly. Opportunities appear without aggressive pursuit. Conversations align naturally. Timing feels less forced. This is not magic. It is the result of internal coherence. When your inner world is ordered, your outer world responds. Chaos attracts chaos. Stability attracts opportunity. You also began to trust yourself more. Before alignment, self-doubt was loud. You questioned your choices constantly. You looked for external validation to confirm direction. Alignment reduced this dependency. You may still seek feedback, but you are no longer governed by it. Your internal compass has become stronger. This does not mean fear disappeared. Fear still arises. The difference is that fear no longer decides. It informs, but it does not control. You move forward with awareness, not recklessness. This balance is rare. Many people either freeze in fear or ignore it completely. Alignment allows you to walk with it. As acceleration increases, so does responsibility. Things move faster now because fewer internal obstacles slow you down. But this speed requires discipline to maintain. Without discipline, acceleration turns into loss of control. This is why alignment and discipline must coexist. Alignment sets direction. Discipline maintains it. You may notice that your time feels more valuable now. You protect it differently. You say no more often. You rest with intention rather than guilt. You work with presence rather than urgency. These are signs of maturity. They prevent burnout and preserve clarity. Acceleration also reveals weaknesses quickly. When things move faster, mistakes become more visible. This is not a threat, it is feedback. Alignment allows you to correct quickly without ego. You are less attached to being right and more committed to being effective. The path ahead will require sustained focus. Not intensity for a moment, but steadiness over time. Alignment supports this. It reduces the need for constant motivation because your actions are no longer fighting your values. When action and intention are aligned, effort feels natural. You are no longer pushing against life. You are participating with it. This does not mean you surrender ambition. It means ambition is now grounded. Grounded ambition is patient. It understands timing. It respects process. It does not panic when progress pauses. Acceleration is not about rushing toward an end. It is about removing unnecessary resistance. When resistance is gone, progress becomes inevitable. This is what you are experiencing now. Momentum is building because friction has decreased. Stay attentive during this phase. Alignment can be disrupted by complacency. Continue to check in with your actions. Ensure they reflect your values. When misalignment appears, correct it quickly. Small corrections prevent large setbacks. You have earned this phase through honesty, discipline, and endurance. It is not a gift handed randomly. It is a natural consequence of inner order. Trust it, but do not take it lightly. What comes next will move faster than before. Decisions will carry more weight. Results will arrive sooner. This is why grounding matters now more than ever. Stay calm, stay precise, stay present. Acceleration is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to carry you forward efficiently. Allow it to happen without forcing it. Maintain your discipline. Protect your alignment. You are moving now because you are ready to move. And that is why momentum has shifted. You did not know you were being tested, and that is why the test mattered. The most important examinations in life never announce themselves. They do not come with instructions, warnings, or timelines. They arrive disguised as ordinary days, heavy emotions, repeated disappointments, and silent struggles that no one applauds. You were not told, this is a test of your patience. You were not informed, this moment will measure your discipline. Instead, life watched how you behaved when no one was watching, how you reacted when nothing went your way, and how you treated yourself when you felt unseen, unheard, and unrecognized. In the Shaolin understanding of life, true cultivation happens in silence. The body is trained openly, but the spirit is trained in secrecy. When discomfort enters your life, it is not punishment. It is instruction. Every delay you faced was asking one simple question. Can you remain steady when progress is slow? Every rejection was asking another. Can you remain respectful when your ego feels wounded? Every moment of loneliness was asking, can you stand in your own presence without running away from yourself? You were tested in moments of exhaustion, when your body was tired, but responsibility still waited. You were tested in moments of temptation, when it would have been easy to choose comfort over discipline. You were tested in moments of anger, when reacting would have felt justified, but restraint would have been wiser. Strength in the warrior's path is not the ability to overpower others. It is the ability to govern oneself. Anyone can explode. Few can contain. There were days when quitting would have made sense. Days when no one would have blamed you for giving up. Those days were not accidents. They were checkpoints. Life was observing whether your commitment depended on motivation or on principle. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Principle is quiet and stable. When you continued despite lacking motivation, you demonstrated principle. That is rare. That is why it was noticed. You may think you survived by luck, but luck does not explain consistency. Luck does not explain endurance. Luck does not explain why you kept moving forward, even when the results did not match the effort. That persistence came from something deeper than emotion. It came from an inner agreement you made with yourself, even if you were not fully conscious of it. An agreement that said, I will not betray myself, even when it hurts. In Shaolin teaching, the body reveals the truth of the mind. A shaky stance shows a distracted mind. A steady posture reflects inner alignment. Life placed you in unstable situations to see whether you would collapse inwardly or adjust and find balance. Each challenge was like uneven ground beneath your feet. You were forced to strengthen your foundation, not for appearance, but for survival. Over time, without realizing it, you became more grounded. There were moments when you wanted answers, clarity, and reassurance. Instead, you received silence. Silence is a powerful teacher. It forces you to listen inward. It strips away excuses. It reveals whether you trust only when guided, or whether you can walk when the path is unclear. Many fail this test. They demand certainty before action. You acted without certainty. That is courage. You were also tested in how you treated others while carrying your own burdens. Pain often makes people sharp, impatient, and self-centered. If you still showed restraint, fairness, or kindness while under pressure, that was not weakness. That was mastery. It takes strength to remain humane while suffering. Anyone can be gentle when life is easy. Very few can remain balanced when life is heavy. The test was not about perfection. You were never expected to be flawless. You were observed for recovery. How quickly you returned to center after falling off balance. How honestly you faced your mistakes. how willing you were to learn rather than defend your ego. In martial training, falling is not failure. Refusing to stand again is. Each time you stood up, even slowly, you passed another unseen examination. You were tested in your relationship with time. Impatience reveals immaturity of spirit. Rushing reveals fear. When you learn to wait without bitterness, to work without immediate reward, you prove that your mind was becoming less reactive and more intentional. Time respects those who respect discipline. That mutual respect was being established within you. There were moments when resentment could have taken root. Moments when blaming others, circumstances, or fate would have been easy. Blame offers temporary relief but long-term weakness. Responsibility feels heavy at first, but it builds power. Each time you chose responsibility over blame, you strengthened your inner authority. You became less dependent on external validation and more anchored in self-respect. This test also examined how you speak to yourself. In private moments when no one corrected you, how harsh or how patient were you with your own failures? Self-cruelty does not create strength. It creates fracture. If you learn to correct yourself firmly, but without hatred, you learned the way of the disciplined warrior, firmness without violence, clarity without cruelty. You may not realize it, but your nervous system adapted. What once overwhelmed you no longer does. What once felt unbearable became manageable. This is not numbness. This is capacity. Capacity grows through exposure, not avoidance. God does not congratulate avoidance. God congratulates expansion. You expanded without applause. When the message says congratulations, it is acknowledging that you passed something internal, something invisible to others, a threshold of maturity. You no longer collapse under pressure the way you once did. You no longer seek escape as quickly. You pause, you breathe, you observe. That pause is power. The test was also about identity. Would you define yourself by outcomes or by conduct? Outcomes fluctuate, conduct remains. When you continued to act with integrity, even when outcomes disappointed you, you separated your worth from results. That separation is freedom. A free mind cannot be easily manipulated, rushed, or broken. You were tested when things improved slightly. Improvement is also a test. It asks whether you become arrogant or remain grounded, whether you relax discipline prematurely or maintain consistency. Stability is built by those who treat small success with humility. If you did not lose yourself when conditions improved, that was noticed too. Congratulations does not mean the test is over forever. It means you passed this level. In the Shaolin path, advancement is quiet. There is no ceremony. The only sign is increased responsibility. You are now trusted with more weight, not less. More awareness, not comfort. More self-governance, not indulgence. If you look back honestly, you will see that you are not the same person you were before the struggle. You see more clearly. You react less impulsively. You endure more calmly. These are not coincidences. These are results of training you did not know you were undergoing. God congratulates those who grow without being told they are growing. Those who endure without demanding recognition. Those who remain disciplined even when progress feels invisible. You are being shaped quietly, like steel under pressure. So if you are seeing this today, understand this deeply. You passed a test you did not know you were taking, because your character was stronger than your awareness of it. Now your awareness is catching up. Stand still for a moment. Feel the weight you can now carry. That is not accidental. That is earned. Most people move through life with their eyes open, but their awareness asleep. They react, consume, chase, worry, repeat, yet they rarely observe. Awareness is not intelligence, and it is not information. Awareness is the ability to notice what is happening within you and around you without immediately being controlled by it. When awareness rises, life begins to communicate differently. Messages that once passed unnoticed suddenly stand still in front of you. If this message reached you today, it is not because you searched for it. It is because your inner state made space for it. In the Shaolin understanding, the mind is like water. When it is constantly disturbed, nothing can be seen clearly. When it becomes still, even small details appear sharp and meaningful. Most people live in turbulence. Their thoughts are loud, their desires endless, their fears constant. In such a state, even if truth stands directly in front of them, they cannot recognize it. Awareness rises only when a person has been refined by experience, usually by struggle, usually by silence, usually by disappointment. You did not suddenly become aware overnight. Awareness is cultivated slowly, often through pain. Each time something did not go as planned, it forced you to reflect. Each time distraction failed to bring peace, it pushed you inward. Each time noise exhausted you, you began to value quiet. This is how awareness grows, not through comfort, but through contrast. Many people receive signs but dismiss them. They are too busy interpreting life through expectation instead of observation. When awareness rises, expectation loosens. You stop demanding that life look a certain way. You start asking what life is trying to teach you in its current form. That shift is subtle, but it changes everything. It turns frustration into instruction. It turns waiting into preparation. Shi Heng Yi often emphasizes that clarity does not come from adding more, but from removing excess. Excess thinking, excess desire, excess reaction. When you began to release what no longer served you, even unconsciously, your inner space expanded. And in space, meaning appears. This message reaching you today is not special because of its words. It is special because you were receptive enough to receive it. Awareness also changes how time feels. When the mind is scattered, time feels rushed or wasted. When awareness grows, time becomes precise. You begin to sense when to act and when to wait. You feel less urgency to force outcomes. This does not make you passive. It makes you accurate. A precise strike requires stillness before movement. Life was teaching you precision. You may notice that lately you have become less interested in chaos, less drawn to drama, less tolerant of meaningless conversations. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Awareness refines taste. Just as a trained body rejects poor posture, a trained mind rejects poor input. You no longer consume everything offered to you. You choose more carefully. That is a sign of inner maturity. As awareness rises, loneliness may appear, not because you lack people, but because fewer people resonate with your frequency. This phase confuses many. They think something is wrong. In truth, something is changing. When awareness increases, superficial bonds loosen. This creates space for deeper connection later. First with yourself, then with others who share that depth. This message appeared at a moment when your awareness was high enough to pause and consider it. Many would scroll past. Many would dismiss it as coincidence. But you felt something subtle, a stillness, a recognition, a quiet confirmation. That feeling does not come from belief. It comes from alignment. Alignment between your internal state and the message you encountered. In Shaolin training, a student is not taught advanced techniques until their awareness is sufficient. Otherwise, power becomes dangerous. The same principle applies to life. Opportunities, responsibilities, and messages appear only when awareness can handle them. If this message arrived today, it means you are no longer operating purely on impulse. You are beginning to observe before acting, to listen before speaking, to feel before judging. Awareness also reveals patterns. You start noticing repeated lessons, repeated behaviors, repeated emotional loops. And instead of blaming fate, you begin asking, what am I being asked to understand? This question alone elevates consciousness. It shifts you from victimhood to participation. Life stops happening to you and stops working with you. You may have noticed that your reactions are slower now. Not weaker, slower. There is a pause between stimulus and response. In that pause lies freedom. Viktor Frankl spoke of this pause as the space where choice lives. Shaolin philosophy recognizes it as mastery. Anyone can react instantly, Only a disciplined mind can delay reaction long enough to choose correctly. As awareness rises, intuition sharpens. Intuition is not magic. It is the mind's ability to recognize patterns faster than conscious thought. When mental noise decreases, intuition becomes audible. You begin to feel when something is right or wrong without logical explanation. This is not irrational. It is refined perception. This is why the message says congratulations. Not because you arrived somewhere externally, but because internally you crossed a threshold. You are no longer asleep. Not fully awake perhaps. Awakening is a process, but no longer unconscious. You are starting to see how your inner state shapes your outer experience. Awareness also brings responsibility. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you notice your patterns, excuses lose power. This can feel heavy at first. Ignorance is lighter, but it is also limiting. Awareness is heavier, but it is liberating. You are now capable of correcting course instead of repeating cycles blindly. Many people fear awareness because it demands honesty, honest observation of habits, of fears, of inconsistencies. You did not run from that honesty, even when it was uncomfortable. That willingness to face yourself is rare. That is why this message aligns with you today. In the Shaolin path, progress is internal before it is external. The world may not yet reflect your growth, but the inner foundation is being set. And when the foundation is strong, construction becomes inevitable. You are in the phase where roots deepen. Roots grow in darkness, unseen, but without them, nothing stands. This message did not come to entertain you. It came to acknowledge a shift, a quiet shift, a deep one. Awareness is rising within you, and with it comes the ability to live deliberately rather than accidentally. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. Do not rush to announce your awareness. Live it. Protect it. Awareness is fragile in its early stages. Guard it from excess noise, negativity, and distraction. If you do this, more clarity will come, more precise guidance, more meaningful encounters. Life speaks continuously. Most people cannot hear it. You are beginning to listen. That is why this message appeared today. Many people hear the word, congratulations, and immediately think of reward, ease, or arrival. They imagine a finish line, a pause, a moment to relax. But in the deeper laws that govern growth, congratulations rarely mean rest. They mean readiness. They mean trust. They mean that you have demonstrated the capacity to carry more weight without collapsing. When God says congratulations, it is not an applause for comfort. It is an acknowledgement of responsibility. In the path of discipline, recognition comes quietly, and it comes early, before the real weight is added. A warrior is not praised after the battlefield. He is entrusted before it. When this message reached you, it was not saying, "You have done enough." It was saying, "You have shown enough control to be given more. More awareness, more duty, more influence over your own life and indirectly over others." Responsibility is misunderstood because people associate it with burden. In truth, responsibility is power in its most raw form. To be responsible means you are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer blaming conditions. You are no longer negotiating with excuses. You are capable of choosing correctly even when it is uncomfortable. That capability is rare. That is why it is recognized. In Shaolin teaching, the student who shows discipline is not rewarded with praise, but with harder training. Not to punish him, but to refine him. Easy training does not build mastery. Easy circumstances do not build character. If life has been pressing you harder lately, if expectations feel higher, if your tolerance for nonsense has decreased, this is not misfortune. It is alignment with responsibility. Congratulations also means that you are being watched less closely. This may sound strange, but guidance reduces as trust increases. When a child is learning to walk, hands are held constantly. When balance improves, support withdraws. This is not abandonment. It is respect. If you feel that answers are not being handed to you as directly as before, it means you are expected to find them within. Responsibility begins internally. Before you are entrusted with external roles, you are tested with internal governance. Can you manage your thoughts when no one corrects you? Can you regulate your emotions when no one comforts you? Can you stay disciplined when no one is monitoring you? These are not small matters. They determine whether power will corrupt you or refine you. Many people desire purpose without responsibility. They want meaning without structure, freedom without discipline, recognition without obligation. This imbalance always leads to collapse. Purpose without responsibility creates arrogance. Freedom without discipline creates chaos. Recognition without obligation creates emptiness. God does not congratulate those states. God congratulates readiness. If this message reached you, it means you have demonstrated a level of self-control that makes further growth safe. Safe not in the sense of comfort, but in the sense of stability. You are less likely to misuse opportunity, less likely to waste energy, less likely to be intoxicated by attention or derailed by emotion. That does not mean you are perfect. It means you are teachable. Responsibility also means your actions now echo further. When awareness rises, influence expands. Even if you do not speak much, your presence carries weight. People observe consistency more than words. They feel steadiness more than motivation. If your life is becoming more ordered, it will quietly affect those around you. That influence is a responsibility, whether you claim it or not. This is why congratulations can feel heavy. A subtle seriousness may enter your life. You may feel less playful with trivial things, less patient with self-sabotage, less tolerant of excuses, especially your own. This is not loss of joy. It is refinement of joy. Joy becomes quieter, more grounded, less dependent on stimulation. Responsibility demands clarity of values. When you were less aware, you could drift. Now drift feels uncomfortable. Indecision feels expensive. Every choice carries weight. This can feel pressuring at first, but it is the pressure that shapes direction. A compass is useless without a magnetic field. Responsibility is that field. In the Shaolin path, discipline is an expression of respect. Respect for the body, respect for time, respect for potential. When you begin to respect yourself, life responds by expecting more from you. That expectation is a form of trust. God does not place expectations on what is unstable. He places them on what can endure. You may notice that shortcuts no longer satisfy you. Even when they work, they feel empty. This is because responsibility has entered your system. You now understand, at least intuitively, that how something is achieved matters as much as the outcome. This understanding separates those who build lasting structures from those who chase temporary results. Congratulations also means you